Going to the specifics of the onsite learning plan.
Mm-hmm.
With everybody there,
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard to social distance. What is the plan for social distancing if
Sure.
the entire group comes back?
Well, and I want to be clear that, we do expect to start school with students in the school building. And that would be that traditional model is what we've phrased that. And that's where the students are in the classrooms. We do understand, however, that not every student and not every staff member will be in that classroom on that first day of school. It's just not going to happen, I can tell you already. We're going to have some students who are ill, immunocompromised, have a situation where they must be learning virtually. We will have staff members who likewise are delivering instruction virtually as a result. And so we're going to be dealing with smaller groups of students at first because of this known fact. That will allow us some opportunity to deal with the need for social distancing. We do expect people in our plan to wear a mask, to take the temperature, to wash their hands and wash their workspaces regularly as a part of this plan. But we do believe we'll have this set up in such a way that social distancing can occur. We will, deliver lunch in different ways. We will, deal with recess or physical education or band or choir or regular instruction in math, reading, science, social studies in different ways. But we certainly will put all of those things in place. We've got about 25 buildings in the district when you count our Career Academy facilities, and every building has its own unique situation, and so we'll have good programs and policies in place for each.
We've had quite a few viewers ask specifically about changing those times between classes where kind of everybody is let out
Right.
and everybody gets back into those classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
What is the plan for those peak times where it kind of all mayhem breaks
Yeah,
loose?
so really the model you're asking about is kind of our secondary schools, our middle schools and high schools, where we normally would picture the bell rings, everybody gets up in their classroom that they're sitting in and they're moving to another classroom. First of all, we expect students to mask up and staff to mask up as we're going into larger groupings of people. We will do what we can to stagger times. We are doing what we can to stagger the participation with those who are virtual, those who are in person. And we will continue to do all the work necessary to clean as we're setting up a new class so that we're doing everything possible to make it as safe and hygienic and appropriate as possible.
In this plan, you have a really well thought out version of if a student is showing COVID symptoms, what happens? Could you walk me through that process?
Yeah, if we believe there's reason for concern, we've set up a separate space within every building. We're calling it a safe room where they will go so that we can determine whether there really is a challenge there that's health related, particularly virus related. We don't want to take a student who we suspect may have some COVID-19 related health challenge and put them in the office, where we often would send a student who had a cold or a student who wasn't feeling well for some other reason to the office where the nurse's office usually is located. In this case, because of the spread of this virus, if we discover something like that could occur, we're going to place them in a separate and secure location in the building till we can determine exactly what the situation is with that, in partnership with their parents and guardians of those students, and take action from there moving forward.
You mentioned in that same plan that there will be a staff member with full PPE involved kind of in that space taking care of them. What is your guys' current situation on PPE?
We've got the products that we need. We're certainly expecting that our students and families, when they're coming in our buildings, that they're wearing their masks. But when absolutely necessary, we will have some to provide. And so we're as it stands for our staff, as it stands for the operation of our schools, in terms of cleaning supplies, in terms of personal protective equipment and masks and shields and those sorts of things, we have ordered all of the necessary items to make that occur.
If students have a family member at home who is COVID positive, although they aren't, what is the policy on if that student can come to school?
Yeah, so if we were aware that a student had a family member that they've been in direct and long-term contact with, because we do have some students who come from home life situations where their family member may have it, but they don't live in the same residence. But if it's someone who lives in the same residence and they've had long contact with them, we would want them to stay home and learn virtually.
Perfect. Are you going to be relying on those students telling the schools, or kind of how are you going to find out about those things?
You know, certainly communication is key in this whole process, and as we try to take care of one another, and as we try to give each other grace through this pandemic. We aren't going to test every kid every day. We don't have the ability to do that, and so if a student you know, has that situation, we do expect them to tell us about it.
Perfect. You say in here that parents are responsible with monitoring their children's temperatures. Is there also going to be a system where teachers can help monitor those as well? I know a few school districts outside of our area have purchased temperature scanners. Is that something you're looking into?
We have purchased the necessary temperature scanners as well. I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea that we're scanning students in some, you know, significant way as they come into the building for all sorts of things. I'm talking about a higher end thermometer that will give us their temperature as they're coming in. And yes, we've ordered numerous versions of that. I do want to also say, you know, I've talked about cleaning supplies, I've talked about personal protective equipment. One of the cleaning supplies that we're going to use regularly, some would call a fogger, I would call it a mister, where we're going to take time to make certain that you know, classrooms are treated properly in between contact as a part of the work that we do. We'll be able to use those devices on buses, in classrooms, in common spaces in the building, all of those sorts of things.